So here is a much larger Crassocephalum crepidiodes. I'm going to try to back out a little bit without falling on my bootay to show you this plant. So you can see how tall it is. It can grow anywhere from 3 to 4 feet tall, which is about 1 meter. And it is an edible green leafy herb, and it's 𝐂𝐤𝐿aginous, and the leaves and stems can be eaten as a veggie. So some interesting things about this before I get into that. This is native to Africa, and some common names of this plant are called fireweed, not firebush, that's a completely different plant, and the red flower ragleaf, and thickhead. To get into that a little bit, when you think of Crassocephalum, which crasso comes from crassus, which is thick, and we're going to concentrate on these while we talk about it, which is thick, and cephalum comes from cephalo, which is head. And then I kind of broke down the species name a little bit, and what I got from it was from crepidiodes is crep, which is boot or shoe, and then id, which is shape, o, or oi, which is like, or ode is like, and de is down. So crepidiodes basically means, to me, boot shoe shaped like down. So you have a thickhead that's a boot shoe shaped like down. That's basically what it means, and you can kind of see why that feature is prominent on this plant, and that's how they named it. That was a Latin Greek binomial etymology research there, but that's basically what it means. And some interesting things about this plant before we go into describing it is that actually I'll describe it now. Let's look at this. So the leaves are lyrate pinnatified, which is basically means the terminal lobe is large and rounded, which is the tip here at the tip. Terminal always means tip, and the lower lobes are much smaller, and the leaf is coarsely serrate, which is along the margin, the outer edge of that. You can see that. The petioles, which are basically these long stems, let me show you here. On this it would be these stems, as well as, let's show a smaller version here. This, get my finger in there, stem here. This is the, I'm sorry, I lied, don't listen to me. And that is still considered a stem. I take it back. So when we look at the plant, we look at this petioles, which is the point between the stem and the leaf. So this section right here where my nail's touching would be the petioles. And it's not too defined on this type of leaf structure. They can be from 5 to 30 millimeters long, and the blades of the leaf are large. They're quite large. They can be from 4 to 16 centimeters long and 1 to 7 centimeters wide. They're decurrent at the base, which basically means, when we look at this again, we can look at both of these. You look here and kind of, hopefully you can see that here at this like curve. And then we kind of pull away, and then I'll say what it, the current at the base basically means that it's extending downward from the point of insertion at the leaf base. And at the stems, when you look at the stems here, the leaves are more sessile as it goes up. So here's one, and we'll move over and here's one, and you can see the variation as it goes down. Don't mind this tag. I just put this here so people wouldn't remove it, and because we're removing, if I show you over here, we're removing a lot of stuff. That whole ground was full of plants. So we're kind of keeping the natives over here. I think that pretty much... Oh, the flowers. Let's talk about those for a second. The flowers droop down, as in the name, and they have an orange-pink tone to them. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. The heads are terminal on axis of corimbose inflorescence. So the base axes are basically fine short hairs that were in a whorl of bracts subtending the flowers. So what does that mean? Farmer Drew, what does that mean? Let's look. Hopefully you can get a good... So look at... I'm trying to pull back so you can see it. Oh, let's look over here. So basically you see those fine hairs under there, and you see those little things on the very... I'm touching there. Oh, very small and sensitive. Oh, hey, the ant's trying to fight me here. But those basically, these on the bottom of the flower here, they're kind of holding... Oh, perfect example. You see those right there. Oh yeah, on the top here. Ba-bam. 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 Focus. Focus. It doesn't want to... There we go. Now we can focus. You saw it for a second, but there they are. So this on top here. So now that we can identify the plant, we kind of know the structure of it. There has been compounds that have been isolated from this plant looking at their essential oils, the thymol, which possesses antimicrobial activity. Also, this plant, the Crassocephalum crepidiodes, is antimalarial, has strong anti-mutagenic activity. It fights free radicals, is a hepatoprotective, which basically prevents damage to the liver. And a new study also suggests it's useful in chemo, as a chemopreventive and chemotherapeutic agent for fighting cancer, mainly due to its high nitric oxide content. And that was shown in a study in both in vitro and in vivo. The in vivo was more conclusive, as the in vitro wasn't so promising. So, but the in vivo is obviously better, as it shows in a more, I guess, in a larger body of things. It's not a synthetic environment. It was tested on in a real time, and it basically had good effects on tumors and things like that. So anyway, this plant is very good for fighting cancer. In Japan, it's used in folk medicine for treating acute hepatitis, fever, and edema. So this thing does a lot. It's I don't know if I said it, but it's just eaten as a vegetable, as a herb plant, usually cooked, boiled, or whatever. And I haven't tried it raw. I have tried it cooked. May try it raw, see what happens, but if you do, let me know. I haven't seen any research saying that it's okay raw, but I don't see why not, as it is an edible plant, and most studies will state that fact. And it usually grows only one season. It's in the Asteraceae family, and I don't know if I said it, but it's naturalized here in Hawaii, and it grows in dry areas all the way up into the wet forest, and it grows in a lot of other places too around the world: Australia, India, in Asia and Africa, obviously, since it's native to there, and some places in the U.S. And just so you know, it can be confused with American burnweed. So look at this one. Now we're seeing 3 different versions of this plant, and that kind of looks like American burnweed, but it's not. Definitely more venated. The veins are more prominent, and so don't confuse it with American burnweed. The drooping clusters of these flowers and color of these flowers are also an indicator that it's not burnweed. There's a lot of things just based on the characteristics of the leaves and style of this plant that, you know, if you understand those, you'll know you have it. It's fairly easy to tell this, and a lot of times if you look close, you'll see in the veins this purplish tone going throughout the plant. Not all the time it has it, but you can see it, especially in the middle vein and the ridge rib where it's on some of these leaves. And it can be on the outside. If you look at the leaf margin on this sessile leaf here, you can see the purple. So those are some indicators, as well as the other things I've discussed earlier. And hopefully by seeing 3 different variations, from the baby seedling to the mid planting about to blossom there, and then these which are set in motion, they usually have around, you see it blows, it spreads its seeds by wind. Those were the seeds common in the Asteraceae family. Yeah. So I think that's everything I can think of in regards to this plant, and I don't think I can turn this camera around, but that is the plant. So I'm gonna do my best to say goodbye to Sustainable Farmer Drew. Let's get in here. Gardener Gardens. Please leave your comments, questions, subscribe to the channel. And I hope you liked the first video on wild edible plants, and you find this one and make use of it. And until next time, aloha, mahalo, and happy gardening.